Hey everybody, how you doing? Just got off work. I got a day off tomorrow, so that means tonight was burrito night. If you all know me, I'm a burrito man. Love the burrito place just down the way from here. Fat Bastard Burrito. It's so pleasurable to say their name because I work in a toy store, so I never get to actually say the name Fat Bastard Burrito. To me, they're just the burrito place down the way. So the big news is what Doug Ford is going to do about the lockdown situation. Now, let's be real clear, right? What we're experiencing right now is what I like to call barely lockdown. It is a creation of a subset of rules that skirt, like, if somebody was to say, no, we need to isolate, the conservatives are clearly putting in a series of rules to try and make it as, like, technical as possible. That, oh, sure, like, these workers, they come and they work in this sort of isolated environment where you can shoot stuff out the front door. Nobody actually even comes into the store, right? Or you reduce the amount of people who are allowed in for social distancing purposes. But it's all just sort of wishful thinking, you know? Like, that's the reason it's not working, is that it's not that serious. It's all very tokenism. It's all very token gestures. We're losing control of the situation, especially in Toronto, right? We're losing control of the situation. It's pretty clear. And you know it's serious when even the conservatives are starting to realize it, right? The numbers are still going up. They're not coming back down. And we all know what must be done, right? We all know what needs to happen. You can take a look throughout the world and see pretty clearly the places that are doing better, that are facing this virus with more success, are the people who are going into an actual lockdown with more seriousness. They're the people who are taking a look at their capitalist institutions and saying, right now you're not very worthwhile. And I think that's the scariest part of all for the conservatives. I think the conservatives are very scared that people are going to realize that capitalists and capitalism itself is not very worthwhile. That it is something that we have been fighting against for decades and decades and decades. Right? Like, we put so many laurels and so we have such a rosy picture of the defeat of slavery, you know, that we used to be slavers and now we're not. Well, chattel slavers. We're still wage slavers, but we're not chattel slavers. And we have this image that, like, yeah, we improved our society, we defeated it. Well, what do you think, what force do you think you were fighting against? Right? Because it has a name and it's called capitalism. Right? That the capitalists argued strongly and loudly in favor of slavery. I own a book called Cotton is King that it should be taught in every school, starting at grade 8. At the latest. Cotton is king. Like, we should be learning about that instead of Tess of the Dubervilles. That's embarrassing. That, to me, that's an embarrassment. It's a complete embarrassment to me that we are learning this dry, pointless literature from authors who were irrelevant during their own time and are less relevant now. We'll spend entire semesters discussing the pointless worthlessness of their writing, like like Thomas Hardy. Who cares about this guy? And yet he's embedded in the Canadian curriculum. I can't say that word. Curriculum. You guys know what I mean. He's embedded in the curriculum. What the hell? Why can't I say that word? Curriculum. Holy cow. Wow. What a situation. He's embedded in the curriculum. Thomas Hardy. But we can't teach an actually meaningful book, which is Cotton is King. Right? Cotton is King is probably one of the most important pieces of literature ever written, because it's the pro-slavery arguments from capitalists who desperately they fought a war over it. They desperately wanted to keep owning people. Right? They put their skin in the game. They put it on the ground. They fought a war they could have won in order to secede from the United States. What force do you think we were fighting against? Right? And Union history has been completely obliterated from the mainstream consciousness. Right? If you wanted to have a revitalization of unions and of solidarity struggles in this society, you would start by teaching the union struggle, right? You would start by teaching what happened to people so that they felt they needed to unionize, and you would teach what the unions accomplished. Which, incidentally, the unions accomplished massive things. Like, if it was up to the capitalists, your children would be in coal mines, right? That's what the capitalists want. That's what they still want. They're still invested and interested in that. Like, how do I know that's true? Because they'll do it anywhere else, right? Anywhere else where there isn't any unions, anywhere else where they don't have organized labor, they'll send kids down coal mines, down mine shafts. They do it all the time, right? They don't mind. Like, your heroes, your the people who we're supposed to laud and worship, right? Like your Steve Jobs and your Bill Gates and your Elon Musks and all these guys. They put kids down mine shafts, dude. They don't give a fuck at all. They don't give a fuck at all, even a little. Even a little, right? Get into the coal mine, get me the coal. Get into the whatever mine, get me the thing I need. Because I would like to be a billionaire and I don't give a fuck if you die. That's capitalism, baby. And we're supposed to, like, think that that's normal. That's the thing where things get really fucky, right? We're supposed to think that that is normal. We're supposed to be sitting there bobbing our heads along, believing that that kind of outrageous exploitation is normal. And the capitalist strategy is part of the capitalist strategy is to make the people who are beholden to capitalism so exhausted, so just absolutely unable to even pause and think, that they can't even contemplate, imagine, or think about a world where the capitalists are just non-existent. We're not even given the time to imagine, right? We're not even given the energy to just sit and imagine, right? This is why when I pitched the basic income 10 years ago, I was talking about the basic income, and people would scream like, oh, people will just sit around and be lazy. And it's this demonization of this idea that people will just sit around. Because if you have somebody who's just sitting around, what they're doing is imagining. What they're doing is investing in the contemplation of what the world could look like, right? That no good idea comes from just grinding away at a capitalist enterprise, right? Good ideas come from an ephemeral place, right? A place that needs to be fed, and a place that needs to be fostered, and a place that needs to be explored. And this is why capitalists, more than anything in my view, are so against lockdowns, right? Because the billionaires are making money hand over fist, right? Even when we were in lockdown for that very brief window of time, the billionaires were making a fabulous amount of money, right? Because who's buying up all of these cheap assets now? Well, who do you think? And so they're making money just fine, right? So it can't strictly be a monetary argument. It can't strictly be that the billionaires need to keep making money, because they're making money anyway. More money than they've ever made. No, it's about the power. It's about something more ephemeral than that. It's about something that is more elusive than that, right? They don't want workers to simultaneously take a break from capitalism, because they don't want workers to simultaneously look at one another and realize that capitalists are worthless, that they offer no benefit to the society. They do nothing to improve anything, and everything they do makes the society worse, without the shadow of a doubt. And then on top of all of that, the capitalists claim that the successes that our society has managed to pry from its fingers are actually the responsibility of the capitalists, instead of in spite of the capitalists. Like, a capitalist will literally look you straight in the face and say, less people live in poverty because of capitalism, while completely ignoring the union struggle for a minimum wage, while completely ignoring the union struggle to abolish child workers. If it was up to capitalists, and why do we know that this is true? Because capitalists fought against these endeavors. If it was up to the capitalists, we would still have child workers. If it was up to the capitalists, we would be working for barely anything for base subsistence. How do we know that's true? Because capitalists fought against those advances. And then when they go into countries that don't have the same kind of union structure, the same kind of organizational structure that we do, they exploit those workers on that kind of level, and they think they're doing them a favor. Or at least they say they are. Any idiot with a brain in their head can see that they're exploiting them. And so that's the true reason why we don't want to get into an actual lockdown, right? Because we could. Like, the politicians could literally just lock us down, could put a hold on this whole capitalism thing, could just say, don't worry about the rent, don't worry about the mortgages, don't worry about taxes, don't worry about any of that, right? If they were, like, super dedicated to the idea that we have to maintain it, well, then they could just, like, you could look at a mortgage and just be like, okay, so this month we're going to set your mortgage payment at 0, and we'll tack another month on the end term, right? So if your mortgage was over in 11 months, now it'll be over in 12, right? And we'll just give it a pause. You could also do that. That would be a way to do it. They don't want to. And the reason they don't want to is because they don't want everybody realizing that fundamentally, at the end of the day, capitalists are worthless. Capitalism is a worthless endeavor that is actually destroying us. And if they were to actually do what they have to do, which is put us into a proper lockdown, not this fake bullshit that we're all calling a lockdown, that we would all get our heads out of our asses and realize, oh, selling ourselves to capitalists is not what we're meant to do. All right, this is the end of me. If you're on Instagram, I'm over on YouTube, Toy Store John. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Hit all the buttons, hit all the baubles, hit all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you made it this far. You might as well. I do daily videos. There's always something that I kick myself that I'm forgetting. Like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. I don't know, maybe one day you'll be able to send me some money. Good luck out there, guys. I love you all.